The Chargers made it a point this offseason to load up on weapons for Justin Herbert. Between the draft and free agency, they went out and got guys. So, to hear Pro Football Focus rank their receiving group as one of the worst in the league, that's just preposterous. It makes no sense to me. They're saying the Chargers are 27th out of 32 teams in terms of their pass-catching unit. And I know these rankings get people fired up every year, but this one, it just feels especially off. What's up, Chargers fans? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Chargers. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Bolts. And before moving further, please go to the comment section and let me know, where do you rank Chargers receiving unit? I want your honest answer. Okay, actually, PFF ranked the entire Chargers receiving corps, behind teams like the Raiders and the Broncos. And honestly, I don't see how that's possible. And just for clarity, this isn't just about wide receivers. They're looking at the whole receiving group, tight ends, running backs, everyone. Now, I remember last year, the Chargers were near the very bottom, 31st or 32nd. And okay, at that time, maybe that was a fair criticism. But then the Chargers added Ladd McConkey, and the way he performed in 2024 season should alone help the Chargers jump 5.6 spots. And then this season, they've brought back a healthy Mike Williams, added Trey Harris, grabbed Tyler Conklin, and even Omarion Hampton has legit value as a receiving threat out of the backfield. That's a complete overhaul. Yet, somehow, PFF thinks this unit has only improved by 5 spots. And on top of that, the article itself basically says there's nothing to be excited about outside of Ladd McConkey. That's just wild. I mean, you mentioned Mike Williams, a guy who had 6 straight seasons with a receiving grade over 70. 4 of those were with Justin Herbert. That chemistry is already built, so how do you just ignore that? Then there's Trey Harris. This is a guy who beats man coverage, which is something the Chargers absolutely struggled with last year. That alone fills a major hole in the offense. Tyler Conklin, one of the more underrated additions. Steady, reliable hands, can be a real safety valve. And let's not forget Oronda Gadsden, who I think is being completely slept on. That dude is going to open some eyes. And yeah, we're talking about Omarion Hampton too. His receiving ability brings a whole new dimension. Last year, the Chargers didn't really even try to use their backs in the passing game. That part of the offense just didn't exist. Now, with Hampton in the mix, that's a real outlet for Herbert. When you take all that into account, there are just so many different ways the Chargers can beat you now. You want to compare that to teams like the Panthers, the Raiders, the Giants, or the Saints? Come on. Most of those teams have one guy, maybe 2, that you have to pay attention to. The Chargers, at least 3 or 4 legit weapons now. That has to matter. Now, I do think part of what's hurting the Chargers in these rankings is the perception that they lack elite top-end talent. And yeah, if you're looking at it like your top 2 wideouts are Quentin Johnston and Ladd McConkey, that might not blow people away. But what gets lost is how close this group is to being something really dangerous. If Mike Williams bounces back, if Trey Harris gets off to a hot start, if Gadsden contributes, this unit could rise fast. And it's not just about individual names, it's the mix. It's the skill set diversity. You've got McConkey getting open quickly and exploiting soft spots in zone coverage. Johnston and Darius Davis give you yards after catch. Conklin works the middle. Williams giving you a jump ball threat. You can't double McConkey every snap anymore. You've got to respect the rest of the field. That's going to be a huge shift. Now this takes us to another big conversation. Which rookie is going to have the bigger impact? Omarion Hampton or Trey Harris? This one is tough. The instinct says Hampton because of what he brings to the run game. And frankly, the Chargers need him. Last season, the run game was brutal. 7 games under 100 yards rushing. 4 games under 65. That's not just a problem, that's a crisis. And in a Greg Roman / Jim Harbaugh system, you don't survive without a strong ground game. So if Hampton can bring even 85% of what he did in college, we're talking 1,500 yards, double-digit touchdowns. That's a game changer. He helps you stay on schedule. He helps you finish games. He helps the play action work better. Plus, like we said earlier, he's got receiving chops too. So to me, the safer bet is Hampton making the bigger overall impact. But, and this is a big but, if Najee Harris ends up being more involved than expected, that might limit Hampton's role, and that opens the door for Trey Harris. If Harris becomes that true outside threat, the guy who can beat press coverage, win those one-on-one matchups down the sideline, That changes everything. Now, teams can't roll all their coverage toward McConkey. Now the box starts to lighten for the run game. Now Herbert can open up the offense again. And we've seen it before. One receiver breakout can tilt the entire offense. If Trey Harris becomes that guy and Najee Harris is solid on the ground, then Trey Harris's impact could outweigh even Hampton. But we're likely starting with a split backfield. Najee Harris isn't going anywhere. He's going to have a role. Maybe even a big one to start the season. That's fine. But I think Hampton's explosiveness gives him the edge. Eventually, he's going to earn more snaps, especially if he's breaking off chunk plays. If I had to guess, I'd say we start with something close to 50-50 or 60-40, then gradually lean toward Hampton. But either way, it's a good problem to have. Now, are fans maybe not giving Najee Harris enough credit? Possibly, and I get it. Hampton's the shiny new toy. First-round pick, huge college production. But Najee brings something they haven't had in a long time. Consistency. He's a grinder. He doesn't need perfect blocking to get you 4 or 5 yards. That matters, especially when trying to stay ahead of the chain. So really, it's not a matter of choosing between the two. It's about having both and knowing how to use them. But here's the thing, with all these weapons, Greg Roman is officially out of excuses. He recently said in an interview that he doesn't care about putting up big point totals, he just wants to win. And I get that. But the comment rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And to be fair, I don't think he meant it as, I don't want to score points. I think he meant, I don't need to run up the score to prove a point. If you're up 20, you milk the clock. You bleed out the defense. You crush their will. That's fine, in theory. The problem is that last year's offense couldn't do that. They couldn't finish games. They couldn't run the ball when teams knew it was coming. That's where this new group comes in. The new receivers, the new backs, a healthy Herbert. This has to be the year where Roman turns the corner. He's done it before. Top rushing attacks, efficient offenses. But last year was rough. Yes, Herbert had 2 bad ankles. Yes, the personnel wasn't ideal. But now, Roman got his wish list. The organization gave him the groceries. Now it's time to cook. He says he doesn't care how it looks. Run it 100 times, pass it 100 times, whatever it takes. Okay, but it has to produce points. That's the bottom line. Let's talk Zion Johnson now, because this is a storyline that's quietly going to shape the entire offense. The Chargers are moving him to center, and this might be the last shot to find that light bulb moment. Everyone says he's smart, he's strong, he's athletic, all the traits. But there's a difference between being intelligent and having on-field awareness. And the things he struggled with at guard, those aren't magically easier at center. In fact, the mental load is even higher. But if it works, if Zion Johnson settles in and plays up to his potential, this line could be solid. You've got Mekhi Becton on the edge, a better interior, and suddenly Herbert might have the best protection of his career. Still, I'll be watching closely in the preseason. How much do they play him? Does he need the reps to get comfortable? Or do they want to preserve him for the long haul? It's a fine balance.